Hey everybody. So if you're anything like me, right, if you've been through something difficult, you don't want it to happen again. And so you're aware of the telltale signs if you start to go down that path again. And you tend to notice in other people as well if they're going through the same stuff. And so one day I was at the cafe with my wife, and we were talking about the issue of how sometimes in ministry and in life, we're always go, 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 right? And then we end up getting burnt out. So we were talking about burnout and then how we're meant to deal with it. And we were hoping and praying for different people around us that they wouldn't get caught up in burnout, right? And then God dropped three pictures into my mind, right? The first one, I was on a dusty road walking in the middle of the day. It was red hot, sweaty, and I look over and Jesus is walking there with me. And he's sweating and hot as well, and like his hair sticking to his face, you know. And he looks over at me and he just smiles. The second picture drops, right? I'm sitting on the street eating street food at a table, and I look opposite me and there's Jesus. And he's scoffing this soup and bread like he hadn't eaten all day. Like really, really like into it, his mouth open eating. And he just looks up at me and smiles this beautiful smile, right? The third picture drops, and it's nighttime nearly. Someone's got a fire going, and there's these big stones, and I'm sitting on one in front of the fire staying warm, and Jesus walks up to a stone next to me and sits there, goes like this with his hands in front of the fire, warms them like this, and looks over at me and smiles. And he asked me a question in that moment. He said, "James, where do you want to know me?" And I thought about it for a moment, and I was like, Jesus, I want to know you in these places, the everyday moments. And you know what? He said this. He said, "James, you chose the right thing, because once you have this, you have everything." Right? You see, this is the remedy to burnout. It's the remedy to all of our problems. It says in the Bible, it says in the presence of God is fullness of joy. Right? When we have that fullness of an awareness of him being with us in every moment, then all the other stuff drops off us, right? Even like, remember Mary and Martha, when one of the sisters goes up to the other and says, "Hey, Jesus, can you tell my sister to stop just sitting down listening to you and help me do all the other stuff?" And Jesus says, "No, I'm not going to tell her to stop doing this. You're so worried about so much stuff, but she's chosen the best thing, right? And I'm not going to take it away from her." So I really wanted to pass this on to some of the young people that I work with, right? And so at youth group, I got a marker pen and a whiteboard, and on the right hand side of the whiteboard, I wrote a big list of all the famous stuff that the disciples did with Jesus, right? Feeding the 5,000, water into wine, all these miracles, the famous things, the high points, the things that people really want to see happen in their own life and ministry, right? And on the left hand side, I wrote another list, all the normal things that they would have done with Jesus. And I covered every single one of them up. And I asked the kids the question, "Hey kids, what did Jesus do with his disciples?" All the hands shot up, right? I said, "Yeah, you, feeding 5,000. And then I pulled the thing off so that they could see that one. And they chose all the ones off the right-hand side list, the famous things. Not one of them could discover one of the ones on the left-hand side list. And so I had to give them a clue. And when I gave them a clue, the penny dropped, and they said, "Oh yeah, they would have gone to the toilet, you know, behind a bush, or they would have eaten together." And he chose all the ones off the left-hand side list, the normal parts of life, right? And then I asked them a question. I said, if you could know Jesus, if you could know God in any one of these things, just one, which one would you choose? And you know what? Out of 15 kids, 14 out of 15 chose the ones from the left-hand side list, from the everyday parts of life. You know, this to me reveals the heart's craving desire. We are hardwired to want that, to know God like that. And we're not satisfied until we have that. It is the best thing. It is the best portion. And it is the answer to all of our problems, to know God like that, right? And we will have the high experiences with God as well. But it also reveals to me the heart of God as well. He longs for us and craves for us to choose the right part, the best portion. So how about you? What will you choose?